Hello there, welcome to my views and news. Well, for the last 24 hours, I have been receiving messages about the interview of a top former TPLF leader, I would say, because he is no more active now, though he's a founding member, Sabbat Naga. People are sharing clips. Some Eritrean activists are sharing clips of Sabbat Naga calling Isas a working comrade. Why did Sabbatnaga speak now? When did he leave Ethiopia? Where is he now? Why was there need for him to stay silent? And why is there need for him now to speak? What is his real agenda? His talk matters a lot because obviously he's not active in politics, but still he is connected, and he's the man who has been in charge of affairs in Ethiopia for years. Still an influential man, though I wouldn't say that he is the most influential man in TPLF or in Tigray. Little sidelined because of his age, because of new leadership. Analysis is missing so far of his interview. How to conclude? What does he want to say? Who is behind him? So I studied his interview last night too, and after that I have drawn some conclusions which I want to share with you. Mainly, uh, Sabbatnaga talked on 5 points. I'll sum up why is he so concerned about these points. Firstly, he accused some TDF commanders that they are on the payroll of CIA, which is very surprising for me. I mean, he never made some accusation during the war, when there was war in Tigray. Didn't he know back then that these PDF commanders were on US payroll, CIA payroll? Why is he speaking now? Let's analyze a little. By the way, if you remember, a few weeks ago, I did a live chat. I told you about the most favorable, acceptable leader for US in Ethiopia. And back then I said Sadkan is the man who is the most acceptable to US in Ethiopia, but it's difficult to bring Sadkan to power. Sabbatnaga did not make a mention of Sadkan. Sadkan has been in touch with Americans for years. He has worked as the head of military as well. Then during Tigray War too, we saw that Sadkan's contacts with Americans were revealed, and then he made some trips to the US. Sabbatnaga has been close to Americans too, by the way. He was released from prison in January 2022. And I think in July 2022, he visited American embassy. I did a video back then about that. Maybe he was working to get a US visa. That is why he went there. And in March last year, he flew from Ethiopia to the US. But in the US, Sabbath is not close to Americans. Why? Because Americans know that Sabbath is not as influential as Sadkan now. He's largely retired, you can say. So Sabbath, without mentioning Sadkan, he implied that Sadkan and some others are on American payroll or CIA's payroll. By the way, he said some TDF commanders are on CIA's payroll. Abi as well was brought by CIA. Isas Averki, also backed by CIA. So maybe some parts of his speech were not coherent, were not reconcilable. Uh, Maybe it's because of age, or it's not because of age, but he lacked clarity a little, I think. So so his first part of the talk, which struck me, was his allegations against some top TDF commanders. He did not name anyone. Secondly, he praised Isas Averki for building a strong army. He said, "Isas, comrade." Again, he said, "Comrade." They have been comrades, by the way. EPLF, TPLF, people fought together. Mengistu had to run, but then they fought against each other as well. So he said that Isas, the comrade, built a strong army. While Isas, the comrade, was building a strong army, maybe Sebetnega was building a strong business empire of his own. That is why he suffered. Anyway, people might not like my comments. So he said Isas built a strong army, and Isas wanted to destroy TPLF's political progress, which he did. Whatever TPLF achieved in Ethiopia politically, Isas wanted to destroy it. And he did that. He praised Isas Averki's ability in terms of strengthening, building a military. And he then talked about Pretoria, that Pretoria basically was the sign of failure of Tigray's enemies. Tigray's enemies wanted to crush Tigray, wanted to crush TPLF. But TPLF survived. TPLF's ideology is surviving as well. That is why Pretoria is a win for the people of Tigray. Thirdly, interim government. He criticized interim government a lot, as if interim government is an extension of prosperity. He said interim government is working in collaboration with federal government. Who proposed the name of Getachew, by the way, as the president of the region for interim period? It was TPLF. TPLF had party elections, central level, executive level, and then Getachew won party election, and he was nominated. And I think then the cabinet was decided by Getachew himself. TPLF welcomed that. But now Sabbath Naga is accusing Tigray interim government of working in collaboration with federal government. Why? He believes that federal government wants to create prosperity party in Tigray. Interim government officials are collaborating. Tigray PP is being formed, and that can only be formed if TPLF is finished, if TPLF merges into prosperity party, if TPLF is not allowed to exist. That is what his theory is. So that is why interim government is working in collaboration with federal government. My understanding is that TPLF was hoping that its status would be restored as a political party. When Pretoria was signed, it was clearly said that the terrorist designation on TPLF will be lifted. Terrorist designation was lifted, but TPLF was not restored as a political party. So still, if today election is held in Tigray, TPLF won't be able to contest elections. A new party, a party with a new name, will have to contest elections. So that is what he said. about interim government. I'm mostly talking about political issues, though he talked about other issues too. According to him, the interim government is working in collaboration with federal government to disband TPLF. Fourthly, very importantly, much of his talk was about TPLF. He was all praise for TPLF, as if TPLF is the only solution for all the problems, all the ills which are happening in Ethiopia, in Tigray. Uh, but TPLF is being cornered. A very joint effort is being made to completely eliminate TPLF. Now, how to see this interview of Sabbath Naga, and what did he say about future of Ethiopia? I link the Sabbath Naga's interview to what is happening in Tigray these days. A meeting ongoing for more than 3 months. Tug of war between Tigray interim government and TPLF. Janels coming up with some solutions. I told you about a solution 2 days ago. Solutions so far are not getting approval from all sides. TPLF wants restoration of its political status. It wants announcement of elections. It does not want interim government to go on forever. It wants federal government to make decisions about future status of Raya, Goram, Volgayat, and Marasagada. It wants return of IDPs. It wants decision about the presence of Eritrean forces in border areas. So TPLF wants a lot. Interim government says that it is doing whatever it can. It is talking to federal government. Interim government has to adjust. Opposition to opposition complaining that it has no role, it has no space. It has been given no space in Tigray to work. I think at the talks which are ongoing, TPLF is under pressure. Top TPLF leaders, Munjarino, Debratsion, Alem are under pressure. Some military commanders want to remove them or downgrade them. That is why Sabbath Naga is accusing the military commanders to be on the payroll of CIA. I told you about Alem 2 days ago, that Alem could be sidelined completely. Getachew and Sabbath are not on bad terms. I think they're on good terms. But Getachew is losing his credibility. Maybe Getachew, if military commanders propose Getachew to be appointed to a top position in TPLF, maybe that would be opposed to by some TPLF people. Because Getachew is now seen suspiciously, as if he has sacred ties with Ethiopian PMR. I think Sabbath has been launched by TPLF's old guards, those TPLF leaders who founded it, who then took part in its development, and who are now, some of them are now in power. They know that their existence is in danger. That Abiy wants to disband TPLF. Interim government to some extent on board with Abiy. So that is why Sabbath Naga should speak. Sabbath Naga will be able to get public support. It will lead to public pressure upon military commanders, upon Tigray interim government. That is how I see Sabbath Naga's interview. He talked about, he predicted about future of Ethiopia. He said that future of Ethiopia is bleak, and the country could plunge into inter-ethnic or inter-ethnic wars. And he very strongly opposed the formation of Tigray Advisory Council. If you remember, I did several videos on that a few months ago. I said that Getacheo's government was planning to establish an alternative setup, alternative to regional assembly. Tigray has no regional council because regional council was dissolved, though it was elected in 2020, but election was declared null and void by the Ethiopian parliament. Getacheo's government was formed only through a notification by the Prime Minister of Ethiopia. Getacheo's government has no regional council. That is why Getacheo's interim government proposed the formation of Tigray Advisory Council with participation of political parties, intellectuals, technocrats, so that decisions could be made after discussions at this advisory council. Sabbatnaga opposed the Tigray Advisory Council idea, saying that it is a way of disbanding TPLF. So, TPLF in trouble in Tigray. It is fighting for survival. It has launched its main man, Sabbatnaga. Can Sabbatnaga's speech lead to increase in public support for TPLF or pressure upon the interim government or federal government? That we'll see in the coming days. Thank you for watching.